Hello again, all. It's Michael Gandy here, and I'm getting ready to do an analysis, a comprehensive statistical analysis for an appraisal I'm working on. I wanted to record this analysis to give you some tips, some tricks, insights, and all that good stuff into just how powerful of an analysis you can perform in a short amount of time with good data and good data collection practices. You know, this is not only insightful, but it's also very easy and it's liberating to gather market-based support for your appraisal adjustments. You too can become a ninja on the pairs platform over time. You just have to dive in and be the professional that you are. So let's just see how good the old ninja master can be. So just to give you the setup here, I went ahead and at least pulled my property. So I've got a two-story property in Old Henderson proper, 2,011 square feet, built in 1997. So let's, first thing we're going to do is we're going to define our market area. Now this is Henderson proper. This actually over here is Western Henderson. But I'm going to go ahead and define my area. This is important. You guys want to do a comprehensive statistical analysis on your market area. An area that would be competitive, not necessarily a thin little radius. So I'm going to go ahead and define Henderson proper. Okay, there's my market area. So let's go ahead and take out the subject information. I'm a single-family detached house. So we're going to pull our listings, pendings, contingents, and sales. Told you I'm a two-story house, but I'm going to go ahead and leave building description alone because we do have one story as a variable. So I can always, if I want to, create that as a variable and go ahead and extract it out for more data, but I'm probably going to have to filter this down because Henderson proper is pretty expensive. So let's go ahead. I have 2,011 square foot, so I'm going to go ahead and start off with plus or minus 35% in livable area. So I'm going to go from about 1,300 to, let's say, 2,715. I'm built in 1997, so I'll start off with a 15-year plus or minus in age. And I'm not going to add any more filters, guys. We'll filter this in the platform. We've got with listings and pendings 960, so I'm sure we're going to have a boatload of data. I have my default configured on pairs. Now I'm just going to export the data. Okay, guys, now we're going to jump into pairs. Create a new analysis. This is a dry one, so we're going to head and do this together and see where you can be. I did this appraisal on Thursday, 19th. Let's go ahead and upload our data. I've got a boatload of data, so it's going to take a second to index and table it. And we're probably going to have to filter it down. I'm sure that the records are probably in solds close to 500, maybe a little bit more. Of course, if you have over 500, it's only going to analyze the first 500 in the set, so we want to get your submarket filters applied. Or at least some filters to bring down that amount to more relevant properties. So again, we're going to click Analyze Pairs after the data comes up. Again, since we have so much data, it's probably going to take a little bit of time. Okay, guys, we got a ton of data, one stories, and all kinds of stuff. And as you can see, we've got over 500 sales, so we need to filter that down. So the first thing we never do is we never look at what jumps off the page. We don't look at that. We've got a lot of pruning to do. We've got submarket filterings to apply, etc. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the submarket change. And since I've got so much data, I'm going to tighten it up a little bit, maybe a little bit more what I would do with my 1004 MC. So I'll go ahead and do plus or minus 25%. So I'll go from, let's say, 1,508 square feet to 2,514. Let's do 2,515. I'll go ahead and do age, my year built. I'll do plus or minus 10 years on 1997. And then let's save that first before we go forward. See what kind of data we're dealing with. Still probably a lot of data. Still taking a second for the analysis. It's a good indication of how robust your data set is, unless you've got a slow internet connection. So if we look at the stats, we've filtered this down so far to 387 properties. But we still got some other stuff here to deal with. But before we get into that, let's go ahead and do a look at our market rate change. So I've got an annual rate of 4.6266%. Stepping back, looks to me like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, about 10 months to me stepping back with the candles has been about stable. So I'm going to apply that rate, but I'm going to make my unadjusted days 300. Basically saying that within the last 10 months, that's relatively stable to me. I'll go ahead and click save. Then we're going to get into it here. Okay, now in this situation, guys, we've got 387 records, definitely healthy, and I've got 1 stories in this data set, and I'm a 2-story. So I'm going to go ahead and go in, since I know I've got a lot of data, I'm going to go ahead and add 1 story and click no. Let's get rid of that, first of all. Then we're going to start pruning. Let's get those 1 stories out of the equation. Since we have a lot of data, if you didn't have a lot of data, you could make it the variable by adding in 1 story, and it would have solved for it. So let's see, we've got fixer-upper in here. Let's go check the stats. We've got 1 record that's a fixer-upper. We've got a guest house. I'm a tract home, not a guest house. We've got none in the data set, so that's actually must have been in the 1 story, so we can just remove that. Manufactured home. Looks like we've got none in there too, so we'll go ahead and remove those, get out of our face. But we've got this fixer-upper. Looks like we do have 1 in our data set. Only 1 property. I still have 126 if we take it out, so you know what? I'm not going to deal with the fixer-upper right now. Might be creating some noise, might not, but I'm just going to kick it out and see. I can always come back and add it in. Okay, now we're dealing with 2-story properties only within a 1004MC tight range. Of course, fixer-upper says no solution. Why? Because you can see there's 0 records. We filtered it out. So let's go ahead and get that out of the panel. Now, just initially looking at it, garage bay, not too bad. Bath seems a little bit weak to me. Certainly that range is not irritating me, but I'm going to go ahead and just test some tolerances here. I'm going to go ahead and open that up to 3% for livable area instead of 2. And then on lot size, I've got a pretty good spread, so I'm going to go ahead and do plus or minus 1,000. Go ahead and I'll click update. Now remember, guys, I'm a speed demon. So when I start to get credible, I lock it in and I run. Okay, so what do we got here? Got a $6,000 bath, anywhere from $6,000 to $7,900. That's good. Garage space $6,000 to $8,500. That's good. Gated, guard gated. Okay, I'm neither of those. I'm not using any, but it's in my data set, so I want to account for it so I don't end up pushing those values into other variables. Got some good ranges, $1.50 a square for dirt, pool. I might just test my year built tolerance. I'm 1997. Let's try plus or minus 5 years, and let's go ahead and update it and see if that really materially changes anything. And again, I was satisfied with those numbers, so now I'm just playing around. So we pushed up our bath a little bit. Everything else stayed pretty much in line. So you know what? Let's go back to that 4. And again, guys, once you get credible in the majority of your variables, actually all the variables in your list, I've got right now $5,600 to $7,900 for a bath. That's acceptable, credible. Garage bays, I'm going from $6,100 to $8,600. Definitely good. Not too worried about gated and guard gated. There are 2 tracks. There's some gated tracks, and there's 1 track that's guard gated in this Henderson proper. A livable area, I've got a nice spread. I can always lean to the low or the high depending on the application of the adjustments. Still got about that $1.50 a square foot for dirt. Pool on the high side about $14.5, low side $11. Again, I'm not using REOs or short sales, but I'm leaving them in there to account for variance in the data. And year built, I'm still going to have a negligible difference between 4 years. I'm not going to make an adjustment, maybe 5 years. But if I exceed my definition of negligible, of course, somewhere in this range would apply. So I'm good with these guys, and you know what? We're going to define adjustments. This is how easy it should be for you when you get to that point. I'm going to go ahead and round that to $60 for livable per square foot. I'll go ahead and make a $7,500 garage bay adjustment. Gated, I'll go ahead and round that to $16,000. Lot size, I'll make $1.50. Round it. I'll go ahead and lean towards the central point on the pool. I'll leave REO and short sale alone. I'll go ahead and do $1,500 a year. I'll go ahead and do $24,000 for the guard gate, and I'm going to lock in my bathroom at $6,000. Why? Because I'm in the professional, and that's what I say. And it's in between that range, so I've got statistical support. You're the professional, and you're in control. Under your rules and your model, these are the results. So I'm going to lock in my recorded numbers, get to my validation page, wait for my histograms to load from Google, go to my web page screenshot, and I'm going to go ahead and get this, copy it, and put it right into my report. And I'm going to paste it. That's how easy it is, guys. You just gotta dive in and get used to it. You'll get intuitive with it. You'll start to figure it out. It's just a matter of practice. But I wanted to show you the speed demon on a decent set of data, how long it really takes to perform a comprehensive statistical analysis. Thanks.